Welcome to Day 1 E3 recap with RnR. Today with me I have Peter,
Hello.
Tom,
What's up?
Dave,
Hello.
and myself, Matt. Alright, what we're going to do today is we're going to make a run-through of everything that happened and just kind of give you our opinions on what's going down. First up, we have Microsoft. Guys, you have anything huge from their reveal that you just absolutely loved?
Quantum Break was pretty great looking.
I mean, it's pretty obvious we were all really happy about Titanfall.
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, that was the big obvious thing. I did have one thing that wasn't like big, but I kind of wanted to poke about it. That was they really like to use the phrase cloud computing, but they didn't specify what the hell was going on with that. And I was wondering if you guys had any kind of conclusions.
Really, all that they've said about that is that it saves, and anytime you install a game, it installs it to the cloud as well. So whenever you're at somebody else's place, you can immediately sign into your account and go straight to your games from your Xbox while playing there. So you can play your games practically anywhere. It's a really cool idea, but I don't know how it's going to work out in the end.
Yeah, it seems like it has some bandwidth restrictions, but...
Yeah. But then there's also the, your family can now use it now. They talked about how there's gold sharing, which is really awesome idea. How, even if you're not there, if you have gold, your family members can use your gold through, I think, their accounts. I can't wait until they talk more about that, but
yeah,
so far we really don't have a lot on it.
What
great concept.
Yeah.
What other changes do you think they made? Though they talked about the friends list cap coming off and going to real currency. Was there any other big live changes?
Not really.
Yeah,
Just those in the reveal of gold sharing was huge.
Yeah,
they haven't said. I think they're going to keep you paying for it and all of that, and they've kept most other things. What do you think, Dave?
I thought the cloud-based AI for Forza was kind of a cool idea. How it would learn off of what you do, and you can drop the controller, walk away, and it acts just like you do. And even when you're not there, the game still technically plays for you against other people.
Oh,
I thought that was
awesome.
a really cool feature.
Yeah.
Basically, learning how you play and putting it into games that you don't have to be part of.
Can you imagine if
That's
they
gonna be
implemented that in
huge.
an FPS?
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd just be. I don't know if you could as much on an FPS.
Well, I think if you can make your person drive a certain way based on how you act, I don't think it would be much of a stretch to make enemy AIs react based on how you act. Like, if you shoot, they hide behind cover. If you throw a grenade, they dodge, etc., etc. It would bring in a more realistic AI instead of having it follow a certain script.
Oh, I see. So instead of having your buddies being playing offline, they kind of the AI learns from you.
Yeah.
That would have to have some sort of them seeing what you're going to do before you do it kind of thing, though, wouldn't it?
Well,
Not if you played it a couple of times.
Yeah.
The more you play, the harder it could get. Going up in difficulties for a game, instead of doing that, they could have a dynamic type difficulty system.
One of the things that they talked about with the driving AI from the cloud, which I don't necessarily agree with, was that it logs your movements and your controls. So it wouldn't be much of a stretch to have that for a shooter, because it would log your button actions. So it wouldn't necessarily need to see how you act, but see what you're acting with and counter.
Yeah, your reaction times, and yeah, I get what you're saying.
Tactics-wise, it'd probably be a little bit dumb, because I don't think it'd be able to, record you wishing to come stab somebody in the ass. But
So, what did you guys think about Rise? Anybody?
That
good?
was probably one of the biggest titles that they dropped today, other than Titanfall for the one. That honestly, it was visually really really nice. The only thing that annoyed me about that trailer at all was that they had the same enemy.
Yeah, how
throughout the entire trailer.
Everybody looked the same with the same beards and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
it reminded
I mean,
me of a bunch of Daves getting stabbed.
The thing about it that I like is the fact that they're finally like making bringing a Roman game up to date. All we have now has been Rome Total War, and then there was one or two others that were just god awful.
Yeah.
This thing actually looks really good. They showed us some gameplay, and it looked awesome. And just some of the things just looked ridiculous.
It did look a lot, at least from what I remember of God of War, the whole button pressing to kill things, and the seamlessness of attacking multiple enemies on screen was really cool, I thought.
Yeah, I like the implementation.
Psyched about the button sequences. I mean, it's a cool concept, but I believe they overused it in the video.
It's good for like cinematics and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That seemed kind of like in the middle of something instead of, like at a pivotal point in time.
Regular combat, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, there was one thing I noticed about it that like made it kind of stand apart from the other Roman era games I've seen, which was they didn't really seem to touch on Greek mythology or anything like that horribly much.
No, but they did manage to pull a bunch of harpoons out of their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, the magical appearing harpoons were definitely...
Another thing that I'm kind of iffy about is they announced Minecraft for it. If they make me repay for Minecraft, I don't know if I would do it. I think I'd just keep my Xbox 360 to play Minecraft again. You're going to get the bigger worlds, and I think they're adding more people that you can have in multiplayer.
Yeah.
But having to pay another $20 for the same game for a third time is just kind of silly.
Yeah,
I know I wouldn't.
I don't know, obviously I can't speak for the character of Mojang, but because PC Minecraft isn't like, based on what PC you play on, it's based account-wise, I expect that they'd probably want to do the same thing Xbox-wise.
That'd be really nice.
And it all depends, like, they said that they were going to make it bigger, but how much bigger? With a octa-core processor and that much RAM and how good of a system that is, you should be able to produce a PC-level world. So if they increase the size to 10,000 by 10,000, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, they definitely need to take some of the mobile aspects out of it.
Yeah, I would expect a PC-level new world for Minecraft, as well as hopefully the implementation of mods. That would be the best, I think.
If they allowed mods, I would repurchase it.
Yeah,
that is the one thing that would be a deal maker or breaker for me, is if you're allowed mods. I mean, it is a freaking PC console, pretty much. Like, it's better than most PCs out there. Why not be able to hop on the internet and grab that? I mean, another thing that they announced was you can broadcast your gameplay through Twitch. I mean, if you can stream at the same time, why would you not be able to get mods and just install mods on it and use up some of the hard drive space?
Yeah, the only thing I could think that kind of would like have any bearing on that is I do remember that they bought the developers that made Craft Bucket, which were the guys that designed that modular Minecraft server that just allowed you to kind of like drop mods in.
Oh yeah,
that will. And we haven't heard anything about that, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they've been working on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be too opposed of the idea of them adding like add-on mods, even for like $5 or whatever. They're going to be transferring the currency, so I wouldn't be too opposed to that.
All right, let's talk about some of the games. We got Dead Rising 3.
Oh God, I cannot wait for that.
Oh man, I never played any of the other two, but talking to you the entire time, Tom, was just hilarious with the things that you would come up with and be like, yeah, I just beat the shit out of a guy with this. You just facepalm, like, with an open world is what they're saying for this. It's just going to be ridiculous. I mean, the guy was climbing around all the place, so it's not going to be one of those linear things where, oh, there's a stump, I can't climb on top of it. Hey, there's a ladder, but what does climbing mean?
Like, the hero's downfall, no climbing or swimming.
Exactly. It's like
Stairs,
it's the same thing with the same thing with like not allowing jumps. You to jump in a game is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Sadly, Final Fantasy is just like that, which is a shame.
They're just adding so much to the Dead Rising game. It's gonna be really fucking amazing to get my hands on it. The implementation of cars is going to be awesome alone in an open world Dead Rising game. I mean, in the other games they've had like cars that you can drive around malls or casinos and stuff, but to be able to drive around in an open world will just be awesome for the Dead Rising games.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be much more realistic than like Dead Island. Driving around in it, it was fun in a lot of things, but now with, I guess, the new engine coming around, they can do so much more with driving.
Yeah.
Even if it's going to be like a small moniker of it, it's going to be that much better just because you can use that to get around, and it takes in more physics like of the world.
Another thing that really stood out to me about Dead Rising was the ability to craft weapons on the spot, no longer having to go to benches and finding different buildings with benches in them to craft new weapons. You could just take a knee and build your weapon and go back to slaying zombies, splitting skulls.
That seems really good
Slice them in
gameplay-wise, but doesn't really make much sense.
Well, I mean, in the real world, if you're stuck in somewhere, you'd be like, all right, I got my duct tape, I have a gun,
All you
and
need is
here's
duct
here's
tape.
a here's a flashlight. Oh no, I have to go to a workbench. What will I ever do?
I have a Roomba and a taser.
Okay, let's see.
Do you guys think that DayZ is kind of influencing some of these zombie games to become more open world and free?
Yeah, it is. I forgot where I read, but they were talking about like the new zombie movies and books and all of that stuff are heavily influencing our new zombie games.
You know DayZ is a game, right?
DayZ?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you're
It's also-
thinking of World War
I was
Z.
thinking World War Z.
Yeah, DayZ is the
Shut
Arma
up.
2 expansion.
Whatever.
DayZ is a multi-person zombie game, open world.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of hard to get your hands on at the moment because it's a mod of a core game, but it's been picking up a lot of popularity despite its pain in the ass of installation.
ah, cool. You know, one thing that just came out of nowhere was Spark, and I know Tom and
Oh my
Tom
God.
and it came out.
I'm
Spark
so
is
excited
amazing.
for it.
What?
Just my jaw dropped when I first saw the amount of stuff that you could do with it.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, this is so great!" And then when they were playing and the guy was creating an Earth bridge, I'm like, "Oh, it's fucking Avatar."
Yeah, Earthbenders.
It kind of reminded me of like a Far Cry 3 map editor meets Happy Wars, like Matt said. It really stands out with how creative you can get with those maps.
Yeah, I really liked how they blended the style of animation with like actual serious gameplay. You know, usually that kind of cartoony style animation is reserved for things like Angry Birds.
That and the fact that you can take somebody's map, create your own out of it, and share it immediately is really nice.
Yeah, I did like how they said how they pointed it out that once you stop making enemies or building, somebody can immediately join and you can start working together on it. Like, so you can actually battle the enemies and test out your map with a friend
Yeah.
at any point
So was the
Yeah.
main aspect of the game kind of like a tower defense thing, or?
I honestly thought that it looked a lot like Spore with other game. It honestly looked like that when I first saw it. I'm like, oh, this looks like Spore almost, except you can edit the maps and the fact that you can give things a sounding.
Yeah, I did like that you could have AI friends and you could make pets and all of that stuff. It was really cool.
Can't wait to get my hands on a pet rock.
Oh, I love a pet rock.
Peter, you were saying you were excited about the goblins, right?
Oh yeah, the goblins, like, as soon as I didn't really feel the trailer until the goblins came on screen, and it felt like the trailer kind of like switched focus, and all of a sudden they were showing a lot more like what the gameplay was, and not just somebody being followed around by a rock.
Alright, let's see. We got a... Ooh, don't really care. Battlefield 4. I really didn't pay a lot of attention to it. I know you really enjoy Battlefield in the series. I've never been a huge fan of it. I'll play it from time to time, but I'm just not huge on it.
I mean, I'm not huge on it, but I give respect to it because I think it's the nice blend between the mosh pit that is COD and the tactics that kind of make you feel like you're really strategizing in the game and not just, running around with your gun flying out.
Yeah.
That being said, I do want to say something about their presentation of that because I feel like they really ruined they had some really nice gameplay that they ruined by having a bunch of retards basically yelling stuff throughout the whole presentation.
Well, they had 64 people playing it, which was really awesome seeing. I mean, the only other thing that's really done that with a popular-ish first-person shooter was MAG for the PS3. And that was awful.
Yeah, from what I
It
understood,
really
their
was.
servers couldn't keep up.
No, they couldn't. You never really actually had the giant amount of people that they talked about.
It'll be interesting to see how games unfold with that much crap happening around you.
Yeah. Let's see. We had the Halo reveal, not 5. We don't really know yet. It was just a quick teaser that really didn't say anything at all, other than there was like a Forerunner Hawk thing that just kind of came out of nowhere and was like, "What up?"
They didn't really give us much to go on with that teaser. I mean, I understand the concept of a teaser, but they didn't really give us much at all, aside from Chief being in robes and Cortana's AI chip being basically scrapped now.
Oh, yeah, could we talk about the functionality of robes over Spartan armor?
Well, I mean, we didn't even know what he was until we saw the hand.
Yeah, I guess
And
that
then
was
every
really what it was
little
there
detail dawned on all of us.
for. Yeah,
I was thinking Destiny up until it showed his hand and
Yeah.
Cortana's chip.
Yeah. And let's see. We saved the best for last. It is Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, parkour.
Oh my
mechs.
gosh.
Oh my god.
It is the perfect. They were saying it is the perfect blend with mechs and infantry. They said
Yeah.
it could be a game in its own, just between the infantry, the mech, and the mech and infantry. But they have all of them, and the transition between all of it seemed seamless. Gameplay was phenomenal. Like adding parkour into that element, having jetpacks and all of that shit, and like running off of walls and all of that was just one of the coolest things of the day.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a game that will balance really, really hard on how powerful they make certain aspects of the game. That whole game is going to be about infantry versus mech combat. And if they do something like where they do in Halo, where vehicles rule the world, it's not going to be fun. But from what we saw of the gameplay, I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
I mean,
It looked really balanced out. Like
yeah.
the way he just took out the mech in seconds just by shooting it in the back, pulling some levers.
Like he did like a
Eject.
James Bond ejector seat out of there and fell right on the next mech and destroyed it in seconds.
Yeah,
EA
was there a handle
conveniently
on the back of that
plays
guy's
levers.
head?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like, you may open here and destroy me, please.
Aside from
Yeah.
that, the graphics were brilliant. The
Oh,
color
man.
shading, all that was just amazing. Gameplay looked really fun.
Now, when we saw the infantry guy trash the mech, I'm having a hard time remembering. But did he do that with some kind of power weapon, or?
No, dude. It was a
It was a
like
standard
he
assault
ripped
rifle.
off a plate, and I think he shot into most likely the fuel lodge or something. And it was just a simple assault rifle.
Oh, gotcha. Do you think that there will be any aspect for taking down the mechs even with like team shots without physically getting close to it?
Oh, I'm sure you can. It wouldn't be as fair. I mean, it's probably going to be like trying to take out a mantis, but easier, because if you looked at when he was getting into it, the plating was not very thick.
Yeah.
But they seemed almost like there was an AI in it.
Yeah,
almost.
it did seem like the suit was running around on its
Oh,
own. And then
yeah,
it
like
crashed
he
down.
dove under it. The AI, the mech
Suit
grabbed him
picked
and
him up, put him
put him
inside.
inside. But the one thing that I absolutely loved about that more than anything was the fact that outside and inside of the mech, the HUD is very similar. It's not going to be something that's just going from almost blank with a few things to, say, old Mech Warrior, where you had 400 different things. Or
Yeah.
like a flight simulator, where you just have a bunch of seamless things going on around you.
I thought it was really clever what they did with where they transitioned from the mech HUD into the logo,
Yeah.
where it kind of became the A. That was really cool.
All right. Let's.
Oh, no, I'm really excited for that game.
Oh, me too. Let's move on to EA. It wasn't huge. They were really big on their sports, but that's what EA is mostly known for.
Right.
All of their outside of EA themselves, they own put bluntly, a shitload of other developers. But the huge thing for me was they got the rights to having Star Wars games for the next couple of years,
Yeah.
which everybody was skeptical at first, but I was saying they own everything right now. You don't have to worry. And they even own BioWare and all of that, the people that are going to bring you some of the old Knights of the Old Republic. But what they announced was Battlefront. I cannot tell you how excited I am for that. The first thing that shows up, it was like the camera's walking slowly. You just see this explosion. Like, that kind of looks like Hoth. Snow speeder coming out of nowhere. AT-AT foot coming down on you. Battlefront. We got absolutely nothing done in that teaser except for the fact that it showed up.
Yeah.
It's happening again. Finally. Everybody's hopes and dreams have been returned. Everybody's been looking forward to it since. Oh yeah, they've had great teasers. But they had back after Battlefront 2 came out, that was when they started doing that was around the time that they started development on Knights of the Old Republic and all of that stuff. So they had Battlefront coinciding with Knights of the Old Republic. Once the second of both of those were out, they're like, all right, what are we going to come out with next? Boom! Instead, we got the Old Republic, an MMO. Where's our Battlefront?
Yeah.
Well, here it is, bitches.
It
They
seems like
better not fuck it up either. That game's a classic. I played it for the original Xbox with my friend all the time. It was great. I loved playing the Wookiees.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how many hours I spent on the second one doing the heroes in Mos Eisley.
Oh god, yes.
I played to 1,000 every day with like my little brother and some of our friends. We would play to 1,000 every single time. It was epic. But other than that, it was kind of lackluster. They had Dragon Age Inquisition. I've played one Dragon Age. It's fun, but I don't know if I'm huge onto that. I mean, we got Elder Scrolls, which is very similar to it.
Yeah, I was actually going to poke you about that when we were talking about Knights of the Old Republic. It seems to be kind of a growing trend where great single-player games are kind of branching out and becoming MMOs and kind of adapting the story that way.
Well, it's fun when you have open world or giant stories like Star Trek, Star Wars, Elder Scrolls, all of those things.
Yeah,
Have your single player games to show you the story of one person, and then seamlessly you can pick out any point in time and make an MMO out of it. There's just so much story that you could do for it.
yeah. I think it really boils down to like how well they build the world when they're making these games and just how immersive it is. And I mean, there's not really much. There's not very many universes that have as much respect as the Star Wars universe.
Damn straight. Alright, other than that, we had Need for Speed Rivals. It looked great. You also have the iPad integration, is what they were talking about. Like when they were doing the demo, they had one guy that started as a cop, one guy that started as a racer, and then the announcer was on an iPad, just putting shit all over the road, being a helicopter man, just hanging out. It was really cool, but I mean, I won't play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Need for Speed at times, but unless it's just absolutely amazing, I won't play it.
Well, I mean, that's understandable because that's kind of the niche of gaming we're in.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to poke about was in Xbox has this and Sony has this, so I figured the good middle ground to talk about it would be during the while we're talking about EA.
Yeah.
Both consoles look like they're implementing tablet capabilities, and I think it's brilliant on their part to implement the tablets into the gameplay to kind of directly combat the Wii U without forcing you to base the entire system around the tablet controller. I mean, we're all starting to get to the point where we've got tablets and iPads and stuff hanging around in our house, but we don't necessarily want to add an extra $200 to the console price and end up with a tablet we can't do anything else with. So
Yeah.
I think implementing the tablets that you already have into the consoles was brilliant on their part.
Which that's kind of interesting, just because PlayStation still has the Vita, which is
Right.
brand new. Yet they're still trying to implement this stuff. I don't know if they're going to try to do the same thing with the Vita so that it works in the same manner. I kind of recall them announcing that you could start a game on your PS3, and then when you're walking
Swap it
around, you
over to
could
Vita.
play it on the Vita and all of that stuff. I just kind of never.
This
I
might
think
be a
that
dumb
falls under
question.
certain
but it's,
games, though. Like,
Yeah,
'cause
you gotta have games that are on both.
Yeah.
The Vita is supposed to
For one
essentially be like a PS3. The only thing that I noticed that was missing from it was L2R2. But then again, it does have the touchpad on the back to, I guess, make up for that.
Huh, nice.
Yeah.
The doesn't the Wii U also have one of those?
I'm not sure. Haven't looked into the Wii U
Oh,
too
a
much.
touchpad on the back.
Since all of us are avid Nintendo gamers nowadays.
Oh yeah.
After the N64, I just kind of lost hope.
Yeah. Dumb
No,
question. Is the Vita a touchscreen?
Yes.
Is it?
Okay.
No, I had no idea. Okay. Last thing that I cared anything about with EA, I didn't actually see it, but you guys told me about it and I died inside, was Mirror's Edge, a new one. I loved the first one. It was extremely I guess ingenious how they did all of it. Out of nowhere, we're just playing all of these first-person shooters and shit, and then out of nowhere they come out with a free runner, and it was just awesome. That's all I can say. After that, I was hoping for a next one, and they talked about Brink, which for the longest time I thought it was just going to be the shit. Come out to play it. Single player, not bad. Multiplayer, terrible.
Well, they had real launch issues with their
They-
servers, didn't they?
They still have issues with their servers. Their servers for Brink were some of the worst I've ever played. I really wanted the game to work, but those servers just kind of ruined it for me completely.
You just
That's
reminded
right.
me of something. I'm going to interrupt and backtrack, and this is going to be annoying, but
Go for it.
they announced dedicated servers for Halo 5, which I thought was a big point that we need to talk about, or at least acknowledge.
I can't wait. Halo 4 and Reach, ever since it moved over to 343, that's been one of the biggest issues, is servers. I mean,
Hopefully,
COD has their own servers. Why can't a company that works directly with Microsoft, under Microsoft, get their own servers? It's ridiculous at times. They're just like, why put money into that when we could do something else? And then the big announcement for Halo is, oh, we're gonna have dedicated servers.
yeah.
Thanks for doing it now.
Hopefully, I have full respect for the Gears of War games and everything, but hopefully they don't go the same route with the dedicated servers as Gears of War 3 did, because the way they had that set up is if you didn't have the DLC, the servers were not dedicated for you. So it was all based off a player host if you did not have all the DLC.
That just seems kind of rude.
That's a rude Gus move.
It is, but I mean, hopefully Halo doesn't go down the same route as them, because that would be a major turnoff for me in the
I mean,
on the subject of dedicated.
It'd be interesting to see if they implemented something like BF3, where there were dedicated host servers by 343, but then if you were also allowed to, like, basically purchase hosting space to stick your own server in temporarily. I don't know if that's
How would
something
that
they'll
work in
implement in the
Halo,
Halo
though?
franchise.
Yeah, they would have to be like huge servers in order to do that. But on the subject of Mirror's Edge and Battlefield, Matt, I'm surprised you haven't, or I haven't told you about all the Mirror's Edge Easter eggs inside of the Battlefield 3 maps.
You're dick. I would have
I
actually
could've sworn I
played
brought
if
it
you
up a
told
couple
me.
times.
No, I don't think you've ever told me.
They had the hints like all around. It's just they waited this long to actually announce it. On the subject of Mirror's Edge, the graphics on that game are amazing for being like the light maps that they have, like all the white colors and stuff. You could see the detail, like when she punched one of the soldiers' face masks in, the glass shatter on that was beautiful.
Do you know if that was cutscene or gameplay?
I believe it was gameplay.
Yeah. The game just looks... I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Mirror's Edge series. I never played the first one, but it did look just visually striking. From what I could tell, they were setting it up as a prequel, because the trailer was kind of showing her getting the tattoos that I know she has in the first game. So... Did it seem like they added a little bit more to the combat aspect than they had in the first one?
And they didn't really have much of one. It was slide in, kick, punch, snag a gun, simple shooting mechanics.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it didn't look like they added much more to it. Did you guys see the Plants vs. Zombie trailer?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I did.
It's actually like a full 3D Plants vs. Zombie game. It's really neat looking.
They added a third-person one for that. Was that Ubisoft or EA?
I believe it was under EA. The list that I have right here says it's under EA.
Then it's EA.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that looks like fun. I might get it just because if more than one of us gets it, I will probably get it so we can.
That's
fuck
I
around.
thought it looked really nice because I play Plants vs. Zombie on my iPod and I thoroughly enjoy that game.
yeah.
So to
I
play
know I've played
with
it
multiple
for PC.
people will be pretty fun.
All right, Trials Fusion.
Trials.
Next thing for Trials, like Trials HD, Trials Evolution, Trials Fusion.
Did they
There's-
announce something on that?
They announced it. Fine. It's going to be, I guess, yeah, you guys didn't see it, but it seemed really cool. It's, they added more tricks and whatnot to it so that you could actually do tricks instead of flail around, smack into something, and make it look like you were doing them. Just not on purpose. This time they finally did it. They didn't really show a lot for it, but they announced that, and then there's going to be Frontiers, which is going to be for the phone. I didn't pay any attention to the phone because I don't like phone gaming too much. But Fusion looks pretty good right now.
Yeah. I don't have the same dedication to operating system on my phone either, so kind of I don't really like the direction that we're seeing a lot of phone exclusives for Windows OS and stuff like that, because frankly, I don't think people are that dedicated to phone operating systems.
Nor do they have a lot of Windows OSs.
Yeah.
Like Windows phones are kind of a dying breed, but that's whatever. All right. Some other things that they had in, they were huge on Tom Clancy this year. Splinter Cell. Any of you guys play Conviction?
No.
I've watched the gameplay.
It was so much fun. It came out right when I was starting college, and I sat down with another friend of mine and played that so much. It was wonderful. Cannot wait for the new one. They're keeping it nearly the same as that, with added a few extra things on it. So it's not the old Splinter Cell where there was a huge learning curve, and if you weren't good, you had no chance in hell of beating that game. The other Tom Clancy thing is Division. The Division. It's a open world MMO FPS. Kind of a post-apocalyptic thing, along the lines of everything else that they're going with. It is survival with a group. They say, like, the government vanished, here's an infection, enjoy yourselves. No shit.
Stereotypical zombie game.
Naturally, yeah, nothing's really explained, but whatever. And then a big thing on that really was the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things I want to touch there.
They first brought up Assassin's Creed since it was Ubisoft that makes them. Yes?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and but they left the demo and all of the big stuff to the Sony reveal, which will be up in a minute.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about the game itself, though.
Yeah.
Originally, when they announced basically the setting for the game, I was really concerned because you take this beautiful open world running game, paired with just being able to run through an entire city and go about your business, and then you talk about restricting it to a pirate ship. So I was really concerned that we were going to start seeing limited worlds and such, or that they were going to neglect the pirate element and make it a pirate running around in the city.
I put no thought into that. I just heard pirate ships and went, ah. I know Dave was the exact same. He was like, I've always wanted to be a pirate. We've talked about buying a boat and being pirates.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dave owns a tricorner hat by now.
I don't.
I just have to teach him some knots from my old days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know fishing knots.
I just have to find it. I remember a few of them. I can tie. No. I'm really bad. I was terrible at knots.
It's all about that lashing.
All about that. But you can dive down and all of that shit. It was just awesome. Like everything they talked about was really cool. It was a beautiful game from the demo. The only downside from the demo was it lagged so hard on the PS3.
Yeah, that's something we're gonna have to talk about when we get down to the
We're
PS3
there.
thing.
We're there.
Were we there?
No worries.
Oh, okay.
Ubisoft, meh.
Yeah, Ubisoft. They've got some good things.
They spent a lot of time of Aisha Tyler just hanging out and talking a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then they had the smart band or whatever the hell. That was the only other thing. Really, outside of the musical industry or wanting to learn a musical instrument, there's no reason for that. So yeah, Sony. Continuing with that, it lagged so hard that the guy who was playing was just confused as hell.
Yeah, did they effectively give up on that demo at the end?
I don't know. They were in a cutscene, and he was like mid-sentence, and it lagged again, and then they just cut it off. So I don't know if that was supposed to be a build-up or, hey, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was this isn't working. We're not going to hold the players up for this. So we're just going to move on.
Yeah, it was a recurring theme, because I think we did see some lag on the Destiny side as well, didn't we?
A little. That was kind of in the one or two transitions really quick of the other guy joining him, but we'll get to that in a minute. The biggest thing with PS4 is that they finally showed it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And it looks the exact same as the Xbox One.
Yeah, it's pretty much your
except
box
slanted
and
at
your
the front,
standard,
and the line down the middle is slightly to the left.
yeah.
And it's got blue in it.
It's got blue in it.
Yes.
It's got a little red on you.
What do you guys think of the South Park Stick of Truth game?
Dude, I can't wait for that. I'm buying that day one. I don't care how shitty it is.
Weren't they dropping pre-orders for that almost 6 months ago?
Dude, they've been
Something
the
like
second
that.
it was announced, they were dropping pre-orders for it.
They were building up a pretty big anticipation for it. I mean, I haven't seen much on it, but I'd definitely be interested in getting it.
Yeah. Let's see. What was some of the other stuff they talked about? They definitely put a lot of effort on putting the disc down on Microsoft.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd say get to that at the end once we get everything else.
Oh, all right.
That's a big fun topic that we can talk about later.
Okay.
But let's continue with games and whatnot. The one of them that looked really good that they just announced as an exclusive was the Order 1886. Like, as you said earlier, Dave, it was steampunk meets whatever. It was like a werewolf out of nowhere shows up, and the guy just you got the dirigible subway and a railgun. 'Cause why the hell not?
Well, how else are you going to combat werewolves?
Something like a railgun to the fucking chest.
Yeah. So so was it set in? I think they showed a late 1800s year.
1886.
Yeah, that was.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
But then they announced a bunch of continuation titles like Infamous. It's the shit.
Oh my god, I cannot.
I loved the first one. What about you, Tom? Do you play them?
Yeah, I've played Infamous. God, those games are so great.
It
The first one I actually 100%ed.
nice.
Took me a damn long time.
Yeah, it took me a while to get back into it because I hated the controls, and then I finally found out that you could change the controls. I looked for it forever and then just had a facepalm moment. I was like, oh, it's right here. I can make it so that it's not inverted and ruin my life. But
I'm really looking forward to
that,
Infamous.
Killzone looked really good, but I've never been huge into the Killzone titles. I played one, didn't really do a lot in it.
I mean, I guess we should explain a little bit of the particular gaming niche we're in. I mean, at the moment, we're mostly Xbox and Halo guys. I mean, I know we own a couple of PS3s between us, but...
2 to be exact.
A few, exactly.
But for the most part, we haven't paid too much attention to the Sony exclusives for the last generation.
No, we've not played a lot of them. I usually hear about them through a friend of mine who plays the PlayStation exclusively. But like Final Fantasies, I will always keep up with. I don't always play them. I just kind of like them for the story. Like I thoroughly enjoyed 7. Played the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Played 10, and then that was it. I only played 2 of them. That was it.
I've played all of them.
Yeah. Did they announce that was returning as a Sony exclusive?
I don't think they
gave too much information. Yeah.
They changed the name of Versus 13 to 15, which was awesome. It looked ridiculous.
Oh my
Versus,
god, it looks
my
so
god.
good.
Oh man, it looks wonderful. And then to couple that with Kingdom Hearts 3, I died a little inside. I was like, I can die peacefully now.
Yeah, that's.
But let me play the games first, and then I'll be fine. But they really didn't show a lot into either of them. There was a little bit of possible gameplay in Final Fantasy, but nothing into Kingdom Hearts other than a dude jumping around a little, and that was it. It was about the same overall in both. But then there was Transistor, which I think Dave and I were the only ones that really liked it.
Yeah.
It's by the same people that made Bastion, which I didn't play. Dave did.
Yeah.
I followed up on it, didn't pay a lot of attention to it. Still seemed really cool.
Yeah, this is
It got
kind of
great
Dave's
like
shot
the
at
look of
this.
But Transistor, to me it looks like a more modern Mega Man without the blaster and a chick. So Mega Woman.
I didn't really like the look of it. I think it was too simple for a next-gen console.
Well, Dave is really our authority when it comes to kind of these 3D, even side-scrolling and Japanese-based games. I'm not saying this one's Japanese-based, but it's kind of got that kind of style going to it. Where
it's an indie game.
Yeah, it's a third-person like hack and slash looking thing.
Yeah.
Kind of. Not really. Basically, you go around a specific battlefield, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics, and you're given a certain amount that you can run, move, attack, kind of like D&D. You can attack; it shortens your range of movement, or you can move twice to a certain area to hide from the enemies, and it's turn-based. And it looked really cool. Yeah.
The thing that I all of us were cracking up about when they were playing it was the Dark Sorcerer. It started as just this extremely, I don't know, serious trailer, and then just out of nowhere it came up with it just blacks out to green screen, just like that one. There's a game that they showed earlier that's about like the quest for extremely great loot or something.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that. And then this shows up, and I just cracked up. But there's been nothing said about it at all. For my first time hearing anything about it. But it's Quantic Dream, the guys who aren't they the ones that showed us the stuff on the PS4 that was like a person's face and all of that, and just
Yeah, they had a.
I'm pretty sure that was them, but I'm not entirely certain.
I'm not. I know what you're talking about, but I'm not certain it was them either. But they had. The whole thing was it was a girl's name, and they were demoing the engine.
Yeah. And then let's see. Then one of their big reveals that none of us are really huge on was Diablo 3 is coming to the PS4. That's a console game. Bringing it into the PlayStation 4 is a great idea in theory. I don't think it's going to do extremely well. I mean, of the two consoles, PlayStation's definitely where it's at most home. That's where you get all of the JRPGs and shit like that. But I don't know. You guys think of anything?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of concerned with how some of the traditional MMO combat will kind of...
It's not an MMO.
Diablo 3?
Diablo 3, it's like a group go raid dungeons and get a bunch of...
It's an MMORPG.
Don't you... Isn't it more of like, instead of an open world, whatever, you go into a dungeon with friends, whatnot? Yeah,
I believe it's possible that it's instance-based, kind of like Guild Wars, where there are certain areas where you see everybody, but then the majority of the world is by yourself.
Gotcha.
They have things that transcend the instances, like auction houses and things like that.
Yeah.
But then, I think you are right. For the most part, it is...
it's more of a group thing, dungeon crawler.
But what I was concerned about was, traditionally you have your spell hotbar across the bottom of your screen corresponding to your key, your different keys and fun stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting how they take some of that traditional MMO-based spell casting in combat.
Well, I think the people that did pretty well with it was DCUO. Like they brought in your own superhero, whatnot. So you had all of your powers on that, and it'd be set to hotbars and shit. And then you'd have your D-pad and all of that, and you'd use your powers through those. And it could be something that could be as simple as R1, R2, L1, L2, those all bring up separate menus, and you just press X on all
Well,
of those things.
let's not forget about the fact that flapping your arms like a condor could mean healing spell.
Yeah. On the topic of MMOs, huge deal breaker if it's not anywhere else. Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, yeah,
was
I
announced
can't
for the
wait.
Xbox One.
we
was
were able to
consoles.
confirm it's not exclusive.
Yes, it's on the Xbox. I don't have to shoot anybody. And Dalston will be happy. He won't cry inside.
Now,
I could almost guarantee that the only reason he'd get an Xbox One is the Elder Scrolls the Elder Scrolls Online game is going to be.
I honestly think that would have been the game changer for the console war if it was an exclusive. Like it would have shot Microsoft down.
Oh yeah, that would have been huge if they actually got that. But they were saying they get an early beta for it, which is
Right.
huge.
that Sony gets over the Xbox.
Sony gets over the Xbox, or I think probably even the PC.
Now,
Other than like the closed alphas and betas and shit. But
Yeah.
that's huge right there.
it was interesting that they chose to show it during the Sony. They basically stated that they now had a partnership with the Bethesda, when I was pretty sure that Bethesda had managed to stay pretty console neutral previously. Honestly, this was a big enough thing. They could have had their own conference dedicated to that game, and I don't think anybody would have had a problem with it.
They'll most likely. I haven't seen the full schedule, but they'll most likely have a giant demo for it and whatnot. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to have a demo there, but there'll be a showcase for it most likely.
I look forward to seeing it stutter on the PS3 hardware or the PS4 hardware.
Yeah, that's what Destiny to me was even better than Elder Scrolls Online right then. Quick transition. But yeah, Destiny, it was one of the most beautiful games I'd seen. Like the detail on it from seeing from far away, even on a freaking I was watching it on 540p. Like 2 miles down screen in the video, you could still see
All the details,
All the
and
detail.
the spires.
like
and
I could see
it-
better on that than I can in real life.
Yeah.
Which I know it isn't saying much, but yeah, that was ridiculous, and it was the gameplay was just seamless.
Yeah.
Other than the slight lag, but that was what we had been dealing with all day.
Yeah, that
During all the
Seamless
demos.
transitions. Black Flag. I'm not a fan of Assassin's Creed games very much, but that game, the transition from him jumping on the boat to just taking off into the waters was flawless.
Oh yeah, there was also the cutscene that it had at the very beginning.
Yeah,
Cutscene.
it transitioned
Immediately
from
started
cutscene to
walking.
gameplay, and
There
I
was
thought
no,
we were
like-
still cutscene.
Yeah, there's no like slight delay at all, or like a fuzzy cloud screen that's you can control now. It was just perfect. But Destiny, huge thing. They showed combat for the first time, gameplay, loved it.
One thing that I really loved about it was the fact that the other group could join in and you could all fight one boss together.
Yes,
Just team up
Yeah.
to conquer. That is huge, in my
And
opinion.
the fact that you dropped in from a ship seamlessly was just brilliant.
that
Oh
was
god,
so
the
cool.
wave.
He-
That was hilarious.
Oh man, yes. Just comes up out of nowhere, falls in. You're like, oh hey, a guy teleported in. The hell? It's like an aspect they stole from Star Trek. Whoops, speed ahead.
At least me to wonder if there's going to be like restrictions on what areas you can come in on.
I mean, it's probably going to be dedicated areas so that you can't get too many people, and if there's more people coming into that area, they'll set up an extra session, like
Yeah.
dungeons and things like that, so that you can have multiple people for dungeons. They might craft that as a dungeon area and allow for a set number of people to come in on it.
I'm kind of curious to see how the transitions would be in Destiny, like between areas, like say going into a cave or something. I wonder if it's going to be like a you just walk into the cave, or if there's going to be loading screens in the game.
Well, that's what they did. They were outside, walked upstairs through like a deserted entrance, go up some stairs and walk inside the gate. And then there was
also,
it was a slight delay when he was walking around after he had gotten in and pretty far into it. But even after the boss fight, they just walked right out.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind loading scenes if they got a little bit more creative with it. You know, obviously we've gained the ability to add animations and such to cutscenes, but you know, if we were able to like basically accomplish cutscenes and loading the next area at the same time, or even as simple as you're going in the next area and you watch your character crawl through the pipe and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right, so final discussion. We got some bombs dropped from the PS4.
Oh, wait. Matt, one thing. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't touch down on Arkham Origins.
Arkham Origins.
I know you played Batman quite a bit, so
I loved both of them. But Arkham Origins, it's bringing in some new people. Still haven't really shown anything though. Like I'll touch more on it after they've released more. They just kind of showed a few of the bad guys that they had already talked about a long time ago.
Yeah.
So nothing really got me extremely stirring about it. They just kind of re-announced things that they've already said.
And what'd you guys think about Watch Dogs 2? That was some pretty great gameplay.
Watch Dogs was awesome, and then the integration that they had, the same way that Need for Speed did, was ridiculous. You had you're doing a mission, and then out of nowhere somebody helps you, and they EMP a helicopter, pull up some blockers to stop the police cars, and you just walk on by.
That blackout was
the blackout
amazing.
to save himself is really cool.
Kind of reminded me of a Batman sort of thing. You remember when Batman's just coming back and then he's driving through the tunnel, the cop's just like, you're in for a show today, and then the lights just all go out.
Gonna learn today.
It's kind of what that reminded me of.
Watch Dogs, I'm gonna kind of save off of that because they're gonna display a lot more of it this week. We should be able to learn some more about the story. It'd be great to learn, like, the guy is what the world's best hacker or something.
It's supposed.
You're in Chicago. That's all we know.
Right.
You got a friend named T-Bone.
T-Bone.
That's all we really know.
Yeah. Before we go on, I think we do need to acknowledge that the games that they showed at the C3 were pretty outstanding. Like, I know that E3 is generally a big deal, but this year, just the amount of great stuff that was flying at us continuously was amazing.
Yeah. They really did well this year.
One more thing think we definitely need to touch down on is The Last of Us. Ooh. We did not go into that at all.
You're right, but we still didn't see a lot of it. I'd really like to see a bit more. I mean, it's a game that I'm extremely excited about. I mean, I have my PS3. I plan on playing it if it's going to still be for the PS3. I don't remember.
We finally got to see
we got to see some
zombies
gameplay.
and some gameplay.
The zombies are definitely not your average run-of-the-mill. It's more of like a spore type thing. So you just got to think about the infestation that's going on. Why are these people not whatever? That's storyboard stuff, but it looked really good. Actors really good. Same thing with Beyond Two Souls. Don't really know what's going on story-wise, but the acting and how it looks for both of them were just phenomenal.
Yeah. And last thing I can think of, anyone got any comments on Dark Souls 2?
Dark Souls 2, I played the very first one. The first of that set of 3. And it beat the shit out of me. I'm not a terrible gamer for that, but it just destroyed me. It's like it was bringing the difficulty of a Japanese game to us Westerners that suck at games and just kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah, you always know when there's a country that decides not to release games because other countries are too wimpy to play them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit discouraging.
It's kind of funny sometimes when you hear about some Japanese games turning down their difficulty, their lowest difficulty, because even that was harder than our hardest. Just like, yeah, gotta dole it down for those wimpy Americans. Like, thanks. I know. We're not creative. Just don't hate me.
Are we finally ready to move on to Sony's bombshells?
Sony's
I got
bombshells.
nothing else.
First thing that was big was we finally got a pricing for the Xbox
Oh, yes.
at $499. If you're British, it's going to be more. But
Well, not for their currency, but if you
it's
converted it
not
to-
for their currency, but the conversion rate is a couple hundred more. No big deal. But immediately that was the big thing for them. And then PlayStation 4 showed us what it looked like, gave us a price of $100 less. Like, Tom, you were saying what did you say before about the pricing?
I said it'd be pretty great if they waited till Xbox announced their pricing, and when they went to reveal theirs, they just shot it down by 100 and just shouted in your face, Microsoft, we're gonna take you down.
I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised. Everything that they announced, they talked about used games. They're not doing anything about it. If you buy it, you own the rights to it. Doesn't matter how you get it. It doesn't have to be online within 24 hours. You can play your single-player games offline as much as you want for as long as you want. That's one of the things that Microsoft left open for both of those. Like,
And Sony took
in their
advantage
slight
of those
defense,
things.
they came out saying all of that shit. Sony was like, in your face. But Microsoft left themselves with an escape saying, we're still not certain how we're going to do this. They're leaving it to be the always online thing can't work for our armed forces. And Xboxes and PlayStations are big over there because when you're not doing a lot of other things, you can play video games.
Back.
When it's always online, there's no way that you can do it
Right.
on an
Yeah.
army base over in Afghanistan. You can't get online every day.
Yeah, the time for them basically not saying anything definitive on it, though, is over. With Sony kind of calling them out on it directly, they're going to have to come back and either refute it or tell us why it's worth dealing with.
Yeah, they need to announce very quickly what their actual thing on used games is. I think they gave a pretty definitive answer, where, like all of the examples that you could do, but I still just don't really like it at all. It's you can share it with 10 friends, you can give it to one person. All of that stuff's just kind of obnoxious, and they're leaving third-party games. At least they're giving them the option to do whatever they want. That's cool, but Microsoft just, I think, wants to continue getting as much money as they want. I mean, I know it sucks because every used game sold, none of that money actually goes to the developer, which blows. Like, GameStop gets so much money off of used games.
Yeah,
But-
it seems to be that's a thing that they should negotiate out with the used game market, so that way
Yeah.
they're getting continued revenue off of some of the resold games.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
I
it
mean,
might cut
they-
into GameStop's profit margin a little bit, but their profit margin on those used games is so high, it's not even funny anyway.
Well, yeah, they buy games for $5, sell them for $45.
Yeah,
That's pretty
which is
simple.
ridiculous. That's why I never sell any of my games, because it's just not worth it.
Yeah, like I had I had a class that we did an investment game, and GameStop. Everybody was like, "There's no reason to put GameStop. That's a dying thing. There's no reason to invest in that." Those fuckers jumped up 20% in the first 3 weeks, and you're just like, "You guys are bastards," but they make so much money off of that.
Yeah.
it's not going to die because PlayStation is feeding it too.
Right.
They don't care. They're nice about it. But
honestly, the PlayStation's jab at everything that Microsoft did, even though they left it open, the fact that they said that was kind of a few nails in the coffin. Honestly.
That turned so many people. Like, was it Matt or Tom's brother that was reading the comments and said, "I'm switching to PS4. I'm definitely buying it."
My brother.
Like, you're just reading the comments on everybody, and those just being the nails in the coffin, giving you the definitive, yeah, there's no reason to buy an Xbox anymore.
I'm really surprised that PS3 took the lunge and actually said, "Hey, you're gonna have to start paying for online play now," and that brings up another huge thing: is the fact that they said their price is going to be $5 a month, less than $5 a month, whereas Microsoft is probably still going to be charging the $60 yearly or $10 monthly. So that means they're going to have to drop their prices to compete.
I mean, they announced that the prices of the Xboxes and all of that, but it's still around $15 a month, even when the Xbox One comes out.
I believe the price changes based on the amount of live you purchase.
Yeah, it does, but also they set it so that it has to be at $15 a month for a year, and it's like it's $100 cheaper or something like that. The Xbox is $100 cheaper, and then you have to pay for 2 years of Xbox Live or something at $15.
Right. Yeah, I know that was kind of a college deal they had going on. I don't know why anybody would take that deal.
It's a stupid deal, like completely stupid. But yeah, it's for those that can't afford it immediately. Like, you might be able to get like a reoccurring thing, but I don't know if it depends on how they have the payment plan for those for that amount of time.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that Sony talked about, and I think this was a thing that really didn't work out in their favor, was they spent quite a bit of time talking about the content and the media that they wanted to bring into the PS3. Honestly, I think the Xbox did a better... They spoke about this more in their original console reveal than they did in their E3 presentation. But I think the Xbox did a better job presenting what they were going to do with cable media and even things like Netflix and of that nature. I think they just flat out did a better job presenting that and showing how they were going to integrate that into their system. Frankly, how many of us use Crackle?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. The thing that I really liked about Xbox was that they came out and said we're gonna leave our games to E3. That's what it's for. Like, we're gonna do the other entertainment stuff now, like all of our TV stuff now, so we can leave our games for E3. Whereas PlayStation just came out, showed a bunch of their games, showed their hand, gave us absolutely nothing about the console.
Yeah, we didn't
show it. That was the huge thing, was that they didn't show it. That was where we gotta have our jab at Microsoft. Gotta have their jab at Sony, but then Sony just beat the living shit out of them now.
Well, they at least addressed issues directly that Microsoft had been severely neglecting. So
they've been
they pretty much beat the crap out of them.
Not meant to do anything about it. It's been kind of obnoxious that everybody's just ready to listen and figure out what are the specifics of this product.
Right.
And that's just kind of one of the things that's egged me on, is that I'd really like to know the specifics of everything. Don't give us this gray area crap when you're coming out in 6 months, when it's not even 6 months now.
Yeah.
And they're still not telling us everything about it.
Right. And it's really going to be sad if they adopt a strategy of trying to kind of keep that in a gray area up until release, because they've pretty much been poked right in their sore spot.
Yeah.
They need to address it. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, their E3 venue thing is kind of already over, so they'll have to find some way to publicly address that.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Anybody got any extra thoughts about the
Well,
PlayStation?
on top of the media, they also talked about their version of cloud computing
Oh,
or
yeah, they
cloud
gave us
streaming, I guess.
what was it called? Anybody
Uh,
remember?
it was.
I'm not sure.
I know they used keywords like game library and streaming.
Oh
but,
yeah,
Synergy.
they were gonna put their entire game library on the cloud, I believe, so that it offers more space for more games. So hopefully that means they'll have a bigger library.
yeah. I also
mean,
think that that frees up the need for the PS4 to basically act as a emulator. If they're streaming the game content, you don't have to worry about your PS4 hardware being backwards compatible with whatever.
Yeah, but it could also be really slow through that.
Yeah, it's
and if
it's
you're
also
streaming,
like we
then
said,
you're gonna have
bandwidth
to have an
related.
internet connection.
Yeah.
Well, that goes for any cloud service.
Yeah, that was I think the big thing with the Xbox is that they liked to have that. You have to have your save on the cloud, otherwise it just disappears. It's kind of like the same thing with Xbox Live back in the day, where you'd save something on one Xbox and you wouldn't be online, go somewhere else and recover your gamer tag, and it's gone.
Yeah.
But that just kind of, I don't know. They also announced a streaming thing with theirs, so that you could have instant streaming on that, just like Twitch. PlayStation has their own, just to match it.
Right. I believe
Peter,
they
what
announced
was-
that they were partnered with Ustream.
Yeah, and then they decided to pick with every other different kind of movie thing. Like they were huge about Netflix being the big deal with them, how they have the most Netflix users of all time. And then they started adding everything else, like Flickster. Never used Flickster.
Yeah, I've never
I
really used it
think
either.
I think I've heard of it maybe 3 times. But they were just trying to, I think, pile on all of that stuff since Microsoft is full of sports, so they gotta somehow manage.
Should be really interesting to see how things turn out in the end. Was PS4 announced for this year, or was it 2014 that it was supposed to drop?
I don't know.
That seems like a big hole in our knowledge.
That is a hole in our knowledge.
Because I remember seeing something about 2014 with the cloud thing.
Right.
the
The
cloud
cloud
storage.
services were supposed to release in 2014.
Everything they said, everything they announced seemed like 2014, so it could be. But also, Xbox is coming out in November, supposedly.
Yeah.
They,
but if
I-
you-
No,
they haven't
they-
given us a set date, have they?
No, they said holiday this year. I remember that.
This year? Okay.
Sony did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I find it hard to
That's-
imagine after all this that they would want to directly compete with the Xbox.
Well, yeah, that'd make the most sense.
Can't wait to see the statistics of who bought what.
Oh yeah,
when
the
they
sales
both come
reports are
out.
going to be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Any wrapping up thoughts from these?
Once again, just recognition that this E3 has been one of the best we've seen.
Yeah. All right. Let's go down from each person saying our favorite thing of the day. Peter.
Honestly, hands down, it comes down to, and you guys are going to be mad that I took this one, but Sony just directly jabbing at Microsoft's sore spot. I think that was pretty much what got the most cheers and was definitely the most epic moment of the day for me.
Yeah. Speaking
I-
speaking of that, there's the right after their conference, Sony put up a video on YouTube. We'll have the link to it in our description. But it was their version of trading games. I won't give
You're
you any
welcome.
details on it, but you're welcome.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Tom?
My favorite thing about E3 was definitely Titanfall. Cannot wait for that game. That and Destiny, both of them just
You don't
That's
get
the
two,
only
Tom. That's
reason I'm-
rude.
that's probably the only reason I'd lean more towards Xbox at this point is those two games.
knowing that Titanfall, Destiny, Elder Scrolls Online, Mirror's Edge most likely will be. I'm heavy towards the Xbox. Dave, what was your favorite?
Well, since I'm the last to go, most things have been taking for me. The Halo teaser was really nice. I really like that. I'm really hoping that they actually take Halo and I hope Master Chief brings or tries to revive Cortana. I think that would be a good story-driven plot. Elder Scrolls Online, I've been waiting for that for many years. I'm excited to see that it's not just going to be a PlayStation 4 exclusive. The jab that Sony took at Microsoft was probably the biggest highlight in many months. That's how console wars get started, and we haven't had something like this in many generations. I'm also actually pretty excited about Spark. I want to see a lot about that one. I would happily waste many hours on that.
Yeah.
Can't believe I forgot about that.
My two favorite things were Elder Scrolls Online. I love the series. I've played it since Morrowind, and just adore it. And then the other thing is Destiny. I absolutely love the story developers at Bungie. I think Halo is one of the quintessential stories that we'll ever have. Like, it's huge. And for us specifically, since we're traditionally a Halo community, it's just been a big part of our lives. Like, it was the reason I really got into gaming. And a first-person shooter kind of partially MMO type game like this is just one of the coolest things I could ever think of having, other than a legitimate MMO. And the way that they've just developed the story and have all of these different characters and species and what happened to Earth, their way of having that dystopian future, is awesome to see. I can't wait to see more gameplay or anything else on that.
Yeah,
like, I know I'm getting that at midnight, definitely.
Yeah, I think everybody's excited about Destiny.
Oh, yeah. Especially with their partnership with Activision. I'd still like to see what all Activision did. It says they're their publisher, but didn't really go into anything into it. Yeah, they have some say into it. I'm kind of curious if they used their engine or whatever they used for that.
Right.
I would be pretty stoked if there was a hidden weapon that was a guitar.
You may use the Rock Band drum set to kill your enemies.
It'd be pretty interesting if Microsoft and Activision ended up merging their engines for Destiny. Highly unlikely, but it'd be pretty cool.
They've always got new stuff in development for those.
Yeah, I'm glad Activision came out and for Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm really glad we didn't see anything on it. We've seen so much on Ghosts. I just want to see gameplay, and that's it.
Fishes.
Yeah, I'm glad they're finally moving away from their old
milk horse.
Their old stuff. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're milk horse.
Yeah.
Milk horse. I really like that. I'm going to use that more and more now. I'm glad they moved away from their development and all that shit, and finally recreated their own shit.
Brain fart.
Engine. That's the word. Engine. Yes, their own engine. A completely new engine for Call of Duty Ghosts. Really glad they did that.
Yeah.
I'm bored of COD, and this seems like it might be refreshing.
I'd say this is a pretty good time to end it off then.
Yeah. Anybody else got any last thoughts?
I think I'm all out.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to our RnR Day 1 of E3 recap. Tune in daily. We'll try to get our coverage on right after the day ends and get it uploaded as quickly as possible. I've been Matt.
I've been Peter.
I'm Tom.
I'm Dave.
Dave's that guy over there that's just kind of hanging out. Thank you for listening.
Peter, say something. I cut you off.
Bye.
We'll have an email. We'll have a shit. I can't even talk anymore.
Herpty derp.
We'll have a hyperlink to our website if you want to come check us out. We make Halo videos from time to time, and we're always on Xbox if you need people to hang out with.
So many West Tages.
Yes, many West Tages. Yep. Have a good evening.
Okay, bye.